That's right. It's another one of these gosh forsaken wrestling predictions. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back at it once again. And this time, we're doing NXT Vengeance Day 2024 edition. That's right. So without further ado, folks, we're just going to jump straight into it. So let's just head on in there. First match is Joe Gacy versus Dijak. The build to this match has actually been very interesting. I'm not even going to lie to you. I think the back and forth has actually been really good, to be totally honest with you. I kind of like the direction that Joe Gacy's going right now, which is ironically like no direction almost. Like his gimmick is just like, I don't really know what I'm doing, you know, and it's been very interesting TV, and again, I like the build that they've had. The last thing I saw was Gacy got thrown into a big dumpster, and then Ava was about to like, I forget what she was about. She was about to like, you know, fine him and then like, get him out of there. And then Joe Gacy was like, yeah, sure, we'll have the match, because he was like, Dijak was like, I want to beat the hell out of this guy, and Gacy agreed to it. And there it is, no disqualification. I'm sure it's going to be great, you know. I mean, if they're willing to, do a spot where Dijak is throwing him off of something into, a big pile of garbage, then obviously that means that maybe something of that, same caliber, something more extreme could potentially happen. That's what I feel like that's like what I'm taking away here. Is like, if you're doing that, then maybe something like that or something more extreme like that is going to take place. So very curious to how that's going to, unfold. I think that it wouldn't see, and this is the thing, right? If you're going to have a wrestler change their gimmick, and you're going to have them do something new, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for the wrestler who has a new gimmick to lose to a wrestler who already kind of is like, knee deep in the gimmick that they have. And, Gacy, again, is on like this new, like, I don't really know what I'm doing, I don't know where I'm going, I don't really know what's happening at the moment type of gimmick. And I think, it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense for him to get beat by I think he's going to get the Mick Foley treatment where he's going to get, the paint strips beaten off of him. But I think that he's going to come out with a win on this one. So, for that reason, I'm going to go with Joe Gacy. Next is the Wolf Dogs, Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker, versus Trick Mello Gang, Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams, in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic 2024 Finals. We're not going to get too into this because I have a lot more to say in the NXT Championship match. I'll say this though. If Trick and Mello don't win, that has to tell you what the finish for the championship match is going to be. If Trick and Mello do win, that has to tell you what the finish of the I don't know how to explain this. I'm going to explain it more in the NXT Championship match. I promise you. But I feel like folks, no, I can't even get it out, because the outcome of this match will tell you what the outcome of the championship match is going to be, right? Like, if Trick and Mello win, then that tells you everything. And for that reason, I feel like they're not going to win. I feel like they're not going to win. No. See, I genuinely don't know, because I feel like this is going to be where we get, whether or not Carmelo is actually going to turn on Trick Williams. I feel like this is where, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Can you hear the apprehension? I genuinely don't know who to go with here, because how they have been building up Mello turning on Trick, and just how Trick has been evolving into a main event caliber superstar before our very eyes, tells me that this match is going to have a very interesting outcome, and it is going to bleed into the NXT Championship matchup. Because of that, it is very difficult for me to deliberate what my answer is going to be. I genuinely don't know. I want to say, in my mind's eye, I see the Wolf Dogs, Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker, winning. I see the Wolf Dogs winning. And because of them winning, it's going to then... So with that, you know what? Because of that, I'm going to say that the Wolf Dogs are winning. I'm going with the Wolf Dogs because I think that that is what is going to result in the angle that is going to take place in the NXT Championship matchup. Next, we have the family, Adriana Rizzo, Channing Stacks Lorenzo, and Tony D'Angelo versus Out the Mud, Bronco Nima, Jada Parker, and Lucien Price with scripts in a mixed 6-man tag team match. Am I dumb? Don't answer that. I don't know who or where I got this from. I could have sworn this was a tag team championship match. Unless that already happened. And I feel like I'm formulating this false image in my head of the championship match already taking place on NXT, unless it did. I swear to God this was an NXT tag team championship match. I thought it was. I believed this for the last 3 weeks. So when the mixed tag team match came up, I was violently confused, but I guess that's what it is. With that being said, seeing as the championships are not on the line, it wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense for OTM to beat them, right? Which, obviously if that were the case, would definitely, hurt the stock of the family. So I don't think that is going to happen. I don't think OTM is going to win. I think it's going to be a great match. I really think that this is more so just to showcase Adriana Rizzo and Miss Jada Parker, because so far, I haven't seen them wrestle unless they've been on NXT Level Up, but I've not seen them wrestle, and I assume this is a match to sort of help them out, I guess. So with that being said, not really much else to talk about, really. I think that the family are going to come away with the win on this one. Next, Oba Femi versus Dragon Lee in the WWE NXT North American title match. Have you heard how they are treating Oba? My man is over. He's over with them. They are eating. They're eating out of the palm of this guy's hand. I am too. I don't even want to get it twisted, ladies and gentlemen. I am in love with this guy. This guy's great. It was the perfect call for them to capitalize off of what could only be described as the calm before the storm, but in a good way. I don't know the last time I've seen a wrestling promotion put a title on someone that was just about to take off. It was almost as if they could see into the future, and they threw the title on him just before his ship left the fucking port. Okay, I apologize for swearing, but this guy, you've painted yourself into a corner now, WWE. You can't take the title off of this guy. You can't. I'm sure that if you did, you could put him in another storyline, but you can't take the title off of this guy. I'm sorry to Dragon Lee. I'm sorry that you had to be the one to have this happen to you, but you cannot take the title off of this guy. This guy shouldn't be losing the title for the next 2 pay-per-views. Have you seen him? He needs to hold on to this title with both hands. And I think WWE is going to allow him that, as they should. So, if it wasn't already clear, I think, I could be wrong here, I don't necessarily know what's going to happen, but I feel like the reception that he's receiving, WWE, you would be fools to take the title off of him. So with that reason, I'm going to go with Oba Femi retaining his NXT North American Championship. Next, we've got Lyra Valkyria versus Roxanne Perez for the NXT Women's Championship. So this one is actually a little bit more difficult. I'm not even going to lie to you right now. So here's the deal. We got Roxanne Perez, who didn't really lose the title, right? If I remember correctly, and this was ages ago, got a head injury, which was a work, if I remember, it was a work. And then, no, she fainted. She won, and then she fainted, so she had to relinquish the title. And then it was a tournament and stuff like that. And she hasn't been champion since. And now she's back. She's different now, right? Heel, I think? Tweener. And since then, since then, we had Becky Lynch. Okay, this is important because Becky Lynch was the NXT Women's Champion, right? And then Lyra Valkyria challenged her, and they made a big stink about it. They did. They made a big hullabaloo about it. They did the thing where they were like, oh, here's Lyra Valkyria's friends or whatever, family or whatever, all the way from
Ireland?
All the way from Ireland. And, they're watching at home and all that sort of stuff, and she won. And there's this whole thing, and, Becky hugged her and all that sort of stuff, right? So you've got two very immovable objects in the sense of Lyra Valkyria winning the championship off of Becky Lynch, and Roxanne Perez never really losing the title. So both of them could realistically win, and it would make sense, right? With that being said, I think that Lyra is retaining, because I feel like they made such a big faff over her winning the championship from Becky Lynch. I mean, you don't go through the trouble of putting a camera in a bar in the town they were in, because there's no way they were in. Anyway, unless they were, which, if anything, is more of a reason why I feel like Lyra is going to retain. And also, I don't know, I feel like it would just be kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. It would just feel like a wet fart if she lost, And I think that as good as Roxanne is, I feel like the crowd aren't as warm to her as they were before. They're not as warm to her as they are Lyra. I'll tell you that much. So, with all that in consideration, with all that in mind, I think that Lyra is going to retain the NXT Women's Championship. Finally, we have Ilya Dragunov versus Trick Williams for the NXT Championship. Now, here's the deal. Here's what I think is going to happen. This is why I said, if they do win, it'll be very interesting. If they don't win, it'll be very interesting. If Trick and Mello win the Dusty Rhodes 2024 Tag Team Classic, Trick is not winning the NXT Championship. If Trick and Mello don't win the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, Trick is winning the NXT Championship. You can have one. You cannot have both. That is just how I feel in my soul, in my heart of hearts. I feel like WWE is going to allow him one. I don't think they're going to give him both. If they give him both, they have the utmost confidence and faith in that man alone, to the point where Carmelo Hayes has suddenly become an afterthought. Because not only is Trick Williams the NXT champion, he is one half of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic winner. And for both of those accolades to fall on him at the same time, it almost like casts Carmelo in a shadow, which means that Carmelo has to turn on him. Otherwise, no offense, he's the Matt Hardy, he's the Marty Jannetty to the tag team, and that is not a title that Carmelo Hayes deserves. But if you put Trick in that position, in that one night, that is what I feel like is going to subtly happen to him. Right? So here's what I think is going to happen. I think that Trick and Mello are going to lose. Mello is going to be distraught. Maybe do a backstage segment of some kind where Mello is just beside himself. Can't handle it. Trick is like, look, man, that sucks, but I got to get ready for my match. Camera lingers on Mello. We come to the match. Trick's got it in the bag. He's got it. Shoo-in. About to do it. 1, 2. Mello interferes. Trick can't believe this. Io capitalizes. Retains his championship. That is when you start Mello versus Trick. Maybe you can even have it carry on to Stand and Deliver. You maybe do a match just to sort of like wet everyone's whistle and then something stops them, something gets in the way, and then stand and deliver. Or maybe you do the match. I don't know when the next pay-per-view is going to be. I genuinely don't know. I'm not trying to be funny. I don't know. You do the match then, and then continues over into the next NXT, and then the rubber match happens as stand and deliver. The point is, that's why I feel like the Wolf Dogs are going to win. You're going to have Trick and Mello lose, and then Trick is about to win. Mello stops him, and then Ia retains. So, I think that that's what's going to happen here. I think that Mello is going to stop him when he's just about to win, and that's how we get Mello turning on Trick. I don't think they're going to pull the trigger on Trick just yet. So, for that reason, I am going to say that Ilya Dragunov is going to retain the NXT Championship. Who do we got? Alright, so, I think that Joe Gacy, yep, that's his name. I think that Joe Gacy is going over Dijak, I think because, he just changed his gimmick, so it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense for him to go through the whole gimmick change, which I am actually really behind, by the way, I really like it, and for him to lose, it just wouldn't make a whole lot of sense, so I'll go with Joe Gacy. I am going for the Wolf Dogs, Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker, beating Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. I'll get into that just in a second, hold on a second, okay? I think the family, Adriana Rizzo, Channing Lorenzo, and Tony D'Angelo are beating OTM, Bronco Nima, Jada Parker, and Lucien Price. I think that, because it's not for the championship, then there's no reason why the family shouldn't win. I think Obafemi is retaining over Dragon Lee because, man, he is over like Rover. It wouldn't make any sense to take the title off of him and cool him off way too early. Okay, I think so. I think Opa's retaining. I think Lyra is retaining over Roxanne Perez. She hasn't really had that many title defenses. Other than beating Becky, she's only had 2 other title defenses. And other than Blair, I think Roxanne is probably another contender that is actually like a threat to her championship. No offense, Jai Lee, but I feel like Roxanne genuinely is like the current threat right now. But I don't think Roxanne's gonna win. It would make sense, to be fair. It would make sense if she did win, because technically she never did lose it. But I think because of all the hoopla that they went through with Lyra beating Becky, it would make sense for Lyra to lose. Now, listen. I know what I said. Calm down. Relax. I know what I said. I said that you can have one and not the other, and I literally said he's having none of them. He's not having both. Okay? But I just feel in my heart of hearts that this is how they are going to start the build towards Mello turning on Trick. I feel like this is how it's going to start. I could be wrong, but it just wouldn't make sense for Trick to lose clean. It wouldn't make sense. There's too many pawns on the board right now. You've got too many variables in place. You can have Trick lose this championship match in a non-clean way and still have Trick get over, but still not have the championship. And I think how they do that is they have Trick being betrayed by Carmelo Hayes, because this is something that they have been building secretly in the background up to this matchup. Okay? It has been happening it's been happening right in front of us to the build up to this match. So because of that, I think that is why Trick and Mello are going to lose the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Finals. And that is going to be the reason why Mello betrays Trick and why Trick is going to lose the NXT Championship match and why Ia is going to retain. So that is what my reasoning is. I thought of that in real time, and I know it sounds incredibly confusing, and I repeated myself many times, but I just needed to drive it home, okay? So I just wanted to clarify that, all right? So, Gacy, the Wolf Dogs, the family, Obafemi, Lyra Valkyria, and Ilya Dragunov. Those who I think are going to win. Folks, that's going to do it for this episode. Hopefully everybody has a wonderful tonight and a wonderful tomorrow, and as always, big hugs. Big hugs all around.